Hey guys, welcome back to the video. I hope you all are doing great. Today's video, the series is the most awaited series in our channel. It has been waited for a long time, and finally, this series is out. Today is the first video of the series, and you would already got to know by the title itself. Deep learning. We are having the deep learning series, then we are going to have a neural network, and then the machine learning series, and then we are having our advanced virtual assistant series. Yes, after all these things, we are going to create an advanced virtual assistant. Maybe we can create, Tony Stark's Jarvis itself, who knows? So we'll be doing that very soon. But before that, we need to understand a few concepts before we do the advanced virtual assistant. So today is the video of the deep learning. Today we are not going to do the complete video or the complete information in one video. We are going to have parts. So today is the first part. We are going to learn a little information, but later on we are going to go more and more and more. We are going to learn about the deep learning, the concept of deep learning. We are going to understand. Let us understand the concept of how this deep learning works. Then we are going to go to the neural network, and then the machine learning concept. We'll be understanding how these things work, and later we are going to start our artificial intelligence or virtual assistant series also. So I'm super excited for this series, and it has already begun, and I'm sure you guys are also excited. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into the video. So finally guys, let's start our deep learning's first video, the first video of the series. So we'll be in this video, as I mentioned before, we are going to just talk a little bit in the beginning, because it's the first beginning of the series, a little basics of it. So later on the parts are going to be more and more, you get more and more information, more and more about how deep learning works, all those things. So let's start without wasting any more time. So today let's see the agenda for today's video. So we have three topics which we are going to cover. First of all, we are going to see what is artificial intelligence in deep learning. Now we can't just straight away go into deep learning. We need to know a little bit of here and there about it. So first, let's understand what is artificial intelligence, and apart from that, we are having what is machine learning. We are going to learn machine learning a little bit. Now don't worry, we are going to bring a separate series for this, separate videos for this in the series, where you will be learning machine learning fully in deep, how all these concepts, similarly like how we are going to learn in deep learning. So something like that. But in this video, in this series, we need to know a little bit about machine learning, or else it will become a little difficult to understand how the deep learning works, all those things. So we're going to have a little bit information about what is machine learning. Apart from that, we are having the third topic, that is limitations of machine learning. So we'll be covering all these three topics one by one. We'll understand how deep learning is playing a role in this, all of these things. And yeah, this will be the first part, and let's get started. So first, let's move ahead with what is artificial intelligence, right? So that's the first thing. Now let's first know what is artificial intelligence with examples, because examples will make the topics even more easier to understand, right? So the best examples I can give for artificial intelligence is obviously Elon Musk's self-driving cars, or the self-driving cars, electric self-driving cars. That's Tesla itself. That's an example for artificial intelligence. Apart from that, we have our Amazon Alexa itself. That's an example for our artificial intelligence. The one we are talking about, the advanced virtual assistant series, what we were talking about. Yeah, even for that also, the Alexa, Amazon Alexa. So that's an example for artificial intelligence, right? Now apart from that, we have the Google Assistant, again an example of artificial intelligence virtual assistant, basically. So these are certain examples, certain things which fall into the artificial intelligence criteria. Now, the major question or the question is, what is exactly is artificial intelligence, right? We know the examples, right? We know what artificial intelligence is, what the examples are, but what is the meaning of artificial intelligence is the thing. So let's understand what is artificial intelligence, the meaning of it, and then let's see a few more examples of this. So artificial intelligence is the ability to imitate human behavior is what is basically artificial intelligence. The way we speak, the way we think, the way we recognize things or places or whatever it is. So an artificial intelligence is basically whatever humans do, kind of trying to copy it is basically, or try to imitate what we do, is the main focus of artificial intelligence. Now let's understand with an example. Now we have this package which we used. If the people who are following our series from the beginning itself, we have a package called as speech recognition. Now speech recognition itself is an artificial intelligence itself. Now speech recognition is the an example, the way how we speak. Similarly, like how we have done it for our virtual assistant, right? Now apart from that, we have is understanding natural processing language, or NLP or NPL. Now this is another example of artificial intelligence, natural processing language. And don't worry, I'll be bringing a series exactly after this series is over, the deep learning series is over. We are having our neural network, NPL, natural processing language, where I'll be teaching you in deep what this whole concept is, to understand the concept, so it'll be easier for our advanced virtual assistant series. So again, that's an example of our artificial intelligence, understanding the natural processing language. Apart from that, we have our image recognition. Now the best example I can give you is the one which we have done in our channel, which is the AI virtual mouse. That itself, image recognition or object recognition, what you can call it as, image recognition, basically opencv package. Now that itself is an example of artificial intelligence. It recognizes it and basically the task given to it, right? So if anyone asks you what is the meaning of artificial intelligence, the meaning is simple. Artificial intelligence is the ability to imitate human behavior. So I hope you understood this whole concept of the meaning of artificial intelligence. Now let's move into the next topic. Let's understand, or let's learn a little history about our artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, a little history of it. Now if you see this chart right here, we have the AI, ML, DL. ML is basically machine learning, DL is basically deep learning. Now let's see how this this chart describes our history of our all of these things. Now the top we have is the AI. Now AI actually came at 1956, but it was just a theory. Yes, even though AI thing came to this world or this reality, it was just a part of theory. It was not like fully used, no one was using it. It was just like a theory base, something like that. And then if you see below that, we have machine learning. Now the fact about machine learning is machine learning and natural processing language, or neural network, what you call neural network, basically natural processing language, both came hand to hand or together, you can call it as. So they actually came in the 80s and the 90s. As I mentioned, neural network or the natural processing language. It came both together, but again, something like how AI was, it came like a theory, basically like a theory. It was not fully used by the time, just like a theory. Now if you see down, we have our DL, which is basically deep learning. Now deep learning actually came in 2006 and was effectively used in 2010. Now I'll tell you if you have watched the video on, I've made a video on how blockchain works, the whole concept of blockchain. In that video, I've explained even the Web 3.0, where I've also spoken about the history of Web 1.0, Web 2.0, and also now currently the Web 3.0. But main thing is the Web 2.0. If you've seen that video, the biggest example I can give you is Google. Now, Google started using this deep learning technology or this deep learning theory or the whole this thing of deep learning stuff in 2010. In many other cases, I'll tell you what they did. So if you've seen that video, that I've told, the major thing was at that period of time where the internet, I've explained how this whole thing works, where information was collected and information was taken. All those things I've explained in that video. So if you have not checked out that video, I'll leave the link in the description. Make sure you check out the video on that. I've explained. It was the first part of our how blockchain works and crypto. So that's the first part. So in that video, I've explained all these things. Make sure you go check it out. I'll leave the link in the description. So check it out. So in this, the main thing what I want to tell you is, in 2010, this whole deep learning became more effectively what we told. Google came up with Google Translator and many other products like Google Maps and many other things, right? Now, how was this possible? This was all possible because of deep learning. So even though 2006 deep learning came, it was effectively used in 2010, right? More effectively. After that, its rest is all about history, right? We know it. So this, the whole about how AI, ML, DL, a little history of how it came into, a little external knowledge or little knowledge about how these things came. So if anyone asks you about the whole thing, you can tell them this is the thing and whole thing. So I hope you got to know what this whole thing was, a history about our whole machine learning, AI, deep learning. Now let's move ahead and let's see what next. So let's move ahead and see what next, what else we have. So we have so let's understand before we move into deep learning, the whole concept of, to understand deep learning, how this whole thing is, we need to understand a little bit of machine learning, what I mentioned before. A little, having information or the knowledge about how this machine learning works. Again, I'll mention, before I mention it, again I'm going to mention, don't worry, I'll bring a separate series for this, where I'll be explaining in deep of how this whole things work, all this machine learning, everything. Now, for now, let's understand a little bit about machine learning, right? So machine learning is a type of artificial intelligence, AI, that provides computers with the ability to learn without being highly programmed. Now, what does this mean? Now, machine learning itself is an artificial intelligence that provides the computer or the device with the ability to learn without being highly programmed. Now, this sentence, the ability to learn without being highly programmed, what does this mean? Now, I'll explain you, in the simpler and the best way. Now, in machine learning and in deep learning, the best example I can give you is, if you watched our stock market prediction video, we had in that video I was talking about training data. We're putting data that's going to be trained. We're going to train our AI, or the training data, what I was basically talking about. So that is the main thing what I'm talking about right here. Now, the whole concept is that the AI that you create, or the whole machine or the device or whatever system, what you call it as, you are going to train it. Now, for example, if I have to tell you, let's take an example of automobiles. Now we have Tesla, then we have Tata Motors, we have Mahindra, Ford, many other companies, right? Now, these companies, everything, but the AI does not know this properly until unless you teach it or you make it understand, right? Now what you do is you collect all these data, you collect all these information of companies, cars, everything, all you're going to collect, and you're going to explain it to your machine learning. Now this explanation is basically called as training. So you assign those data to your artificial intelligence, you're going to train them. You're going to tell this is Mahindra, or this is Tesla, or this is Ford. You're going to train them, and out of that training, they are going to give you the output, right? That's what is basically the whole idea is, right? So this period of this, whole training of the machine that is going to, which you're going to train, and the machine is going to learn, right? It's going to understand. That's the main thing. If you're just going to train, it does not work. The machine or the AI or the system has to understand. It should get to know. So that thing is called as learning, or what you call it as the ability to learn the whole data, how this data works, or this whole the data which you provide is going to learn. It's going to understand. So that is what is basically learning and deep learning is in machine learning is. This was the same in our the stock market prediction video. If you have not checked out the video, I'll leave the link in the description. Make sure you check it out. In that video, if you see, they are given the training data. From that training data itself, the data what we provide, basically, the shareholders, basically the promoter holding, or the profit growth, all these training data, we provided it to the AI, right, to the system. Now what did that do? It basically took that and basically gave a prediction, gave an output. So that is basically what I want to tell right here. It basically understands, it learns, learns, and it provides the output. So here the ability to learn without being highly programmed is, we need not program it very much. Like whatever data we assign, whatever we teaching we do, we basically do it through programming. You just can't tell the AI this, right? You just can't tell it to the AI. We need to program it, right? So in that itself, if you see, the ability to learn without being highly programmed is basically, we need not require high programming, or it shouldn't be highly programmed. So that is what is basically machine learning is. Now machine learning has types. There are 3 types. So we'll learn what these 3 types are of machine learning, and we'll see what are the types of machine learning, right? Now again, before I mentioned it before, again I'll mention this whole 3 things. I'll be explaining it in deep. Now here we'll just be learning it shallow. We're not going to learn it fully in deep, but we're going to learn a little bit of it. So we have 3 types right here. If you see, we have the supervised learning, we have the unsupervised learning, and we also have the reinforcement learning, right? Now if I spelled it wrong, I apologize for that. Any corrections, please let me know. So we have the supervised, unsupervised, and the reinforcement learning, right? So first let's understand what this supervised learning is basically. Now in this, the data is in supervised learning. In this, the data what you give is already already set. You set the data already. Basically train your machine according to it. Now the example which I gave you before, about this machine learning thing is the thing about supervised learning. Now I explained it in the simplest way, in the best way. I hope you got it. If you did not, just press the back button and just go a little back, you'll understand what it is. If you're not, I'll just explain it again in short. Basically you provide a data, right? Now we spoke about the cars, we spoke about Mahindra, Tata, Tesla and Ford, all these things. What you did, you basically took the data, you gave it to the AI, you trained it, you itself did it, right? So that is basically is supervised learning. Now I hope you got it, because that's the simplest I can do. If I was not, do let me know in the comment section. Yeah. So that is basically supervised learning is. So you have given the data and you itself, will make it, you'll train it by itself. So that's the thing. Now unsupervised learning, as the name itself says, basically the opposite of supervised learning. It is basically you're going to train your machine or model using the information neither classified nor labeled. Again, neither classified nor labeled is basically Again, the same thing. The data what you provide, you need not provide the data. You need not provide the data, or that it itself will provide the data and it will basically do the training by itself. So there's no requirement of you not training it or giving the data, all these things, right? The whatever example we gave, you need not require for unsupervised learning. It does by itself. The machine or the model does it by itself, or it has its preset, you can call it as. Apart from that, we have the reinforcement learning. Now, reinforcement learning is a learning by interacting with a space or environment. Now, what does this mean? Now, the best example I can give you is we did our virtual assistant. The people who have followed us from the beginning, we have done the virtual assistant. Now, in that, we had a task, 10 tasks were provided. Out of the task, we had like opening Google, opening Instagram, opening WhatsApp, opening YouTube, Facebook. So we were able to open these, softwares or apps, whatever you call it as, websites. Now, what you did, you basically made your artificial intelligence, or you made the virtual assistant go into that space or go into that environment, right? You basically put that thing into that environment. So they are going to open all those things. You're giving the command, you're putting into that space. So that is basically is reinforcement learning, where you're making your AI or machine or your model go into that specific space or into that environment where there's no other task given, no other environment given. Now basically when you tell open Google to your virtual assistant, what you've done, it's going to open Google itself. It's not going to go to any other browser or website and see something else. No, right? It's going to go and do that task itself, that thing only. So that's basically that environment. So you have provided that environment itself. So that is basically what is reinforcement learning is. Now I hope you understood the whole concept. I made it simple as possible so that you people understand the whole concept. I hope you did it. If you not, do let me know in the comment section. Our team or I will definitely respond you guys back. Okay. So that's basically machine learning is, and the types of machine learning. Again, I hope I've explained it in the simplest and the best way you are able to understand. So that was basically machine learning. Now let's move ahead and see what else we have. So we have the last thing, the last but not the least, almost to the end of this video, the first video of the series of deep learning. The people who have watched till now, who are watching, congratulations, you have finished the first part of the deep learning series, right? So we're going to have this one slide and we're going to finish it off, wrap it off, right? So we have the limitations. We have now, everything has a limitation, right? Even machine learning has a limitation to itself. Now, for example, if you see our virtual assistant itself has many limitations itself. We have, if you've seen our virtual assistant we have created, we have only hardly some 10 to 15 features, not even 15, I believe 10 to 11 features we have. Home automation, basically YouTube, open and close those, and a little bit about automation. Those are the features we have added, right? So we don't have much. We don't have many more other features. We don't have highly programmed things. We don't have that. So that's the limitation of our virtual assistant. Now similarly, even machine learning has its limitation. Now let's see what are the limitations of machine learning. So the first limitation is they can't solve huge amount of data. Now this itself is a huge problem, as it is mentioned, huge amount of data itself is a huge problem. Now when we have the concept or the new reality or the whole thing about metaverse, the blockchain, if you have seen the video where I've explained about metaverse, I'll leave the link in the description. I've explained about metaverse, I've explained about the blockchain, so do check out those videos. I'll leave the link in the description. So when you have this whole metaverse thing coming into the play, and this whole blockchain thing, wherein blockchain the whole network is so secured. Each and every time the data gets changed, each and every time the data is new. Suppose someone is buying Bitcoin, some guy is buying NFT, someone is logging in, logging out, all this data, everything, where this whole reality is so vast, the data itself is so huge. Now when that thing is there, machine learning cannot handle it itself. it will become very difficult for the machine learning to handle this much amount of data that over the blockchain itself we can't handle. So that's the huge problem of machine learning. Now apart from that is the next problem which is faced is they can't understand NPL. Now natural processing language, it becomes difficult for the machine learning to understand natural processing language. So if you see, if you're wondering what is this natural processing language, again and again you're repeating what is this whole thing, I'll explain it in short. Now you have Google or you have WhatsApp, right? Now you're texting someone or you're searching in Google something, right? Now in WhatsApp you're texting your friend, good morning, how are you, or something. Now when you're putting good morning and when you're putting how are you, WhatsApp's system or the NPL of natural processing language of WhatsApp, the keypad itself is going to recognize that you're going to type this itself. You're going to recognize that. It's going to recognize that. When it's going to recognize that natural processing language, it's going to suggest you. You're going to whatever you're going to type next, it's going to tell you. It's also going to recognize and it's going to tell you. Similarly in Google, if you're searching what is metaverse, so when you start typing itself, it will start recognizing and suggesting you the topic which you want to search, making your time saved, making whole typing problem saved, a problem that's being solved. So that itself is basically natural processing language. Is whatever you're going to type, whatever you're going to do, it's going to recognize before itself. That is basically natural processing language. So in machine learning, it became difficult to understand it. So that's again a huge problem for the machine learning itself. Now the third, the most difficult problem is machine learning can't understand, or it's difficult for machine learning to recognize handwritings. It becomes very difficult for these data of handwritings to be recognized, or object recognition becomes a huge problem for machine learning. Now things like how we are having our AI virtual mouse, it becomes difficult for the machine learning to recognize the whole thing about this, the whole handwriting itself. It becomes very difficult for the machine learning to recognize, because if you see, the first point itself is so difficult for the machine learning. The handling or solving the huge amount of data itself is so difficult. Obviously the hand writing recognition or the object detection, where the data is providing each and every second, it's going to provide you each and every second. Again, the data given there will be difficult for it to recognize, right? So that is the major problems that was faced by machine learning, or is being faced by machine learning. Now I've taken only 3 problems. There are many problems that machine learning is facing, but out of the 3, these are the few major points. These are the few major points which we are going to discuss in the next part of the deep learning series, where how we are going to see how deep learning saved this whole three things, how deep learning helped machine learning, or how deep learning was able to recover or was able to manage all these things. So out of that 3, I've taken these 3, where you're going to talk about this whole thing about how deep learning is going to work. So these 3 things I've taken. So if you want to check, you can do a research about the other limitations of machine learning, all these things. So these were the limitations of machine learning, and that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you like this first video of this first series of the deep learning series. I hope you understood the concept. I made it as simple as possible so that you will be able to understand with examples. I try to put it more examples. So I hope you understood it in a very informative, in a very understandable way, in the best way as possible. So that's it for today's video. That's it for the first video of this part. Second video, we're going to have more. We're going to learn more and more the next parts also. So this is the first part. I hope you liked it. So if you have stayed till now, there's one more information which I want to tell you. I forgot to mention it before, but I'll mention it now. It's basically after the deep learning series, after the neural network series, I told you we're going to do the advanced virtual assistant series. Now before that, we are going to have a short demo video, on how our advanced virtual assistant is going to look like. And who knows, we might make our own Jarvis, who knows. So we are going to work on that advanced virtual assistant series. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the demo video, so we are working on that. So we are having more than 21 features. Yeah, you heard it right. More than 21 features, more than the features we have added in the basic virtual assistant. It's much more advanced. It recognizes many more things. Many things are there. You will get to know very soon. So that's the demo video which I'm excited for. I'm sure you guys are excited for that. So stay tuned for that video. It will be coming. I'm not going to mention when it's going to come, but it's going to come. So stay tuned for that. And I hope you guys like this first video of our machine deep learning. And the next videos will have be more and more. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you liked it. Till then, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not, and share to your friends if they are also interested in learning about how this deep learning things works, everything. Till then, guys, happy coding, take care, have a great day. Till then, peace out, bye.